Let's see the transition here. All about the transition. Oh, let's see. So many pictures, so many images. This is the part for me that's it's like landing the plane that is me into the Zoom. It's a whole experience. Let's see here. There we go. We have that happening. One day I hope to have a Bhavananda myself to help land this plane, but it's all things that's beautiful here. Um, Let me just get rid of this echo that comes up. Let's see. All right, I think I've covered all the bases. Can you hear me okay? I've landed the plane. Hallelujah. It's always that start that feels a little bit crunchy for me. It's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. Okay, what do I press first? Turn your camera on. All this lights, camera, action, all the things. I'm just gonna do a little because I'm hearing a little back noise here. I'm just gonna mute. It's okay, my people. So I can all kind of echoey things that starts to happen too on my side. So yeah, so grateful. Namaste to have everyone here. It's so interesting, this whole namaste. There's a whole story around that. It's such, and I brought it right into Spring's world. Like, not to say namaste is unique to me, right? But it's one of those things, the lineage that I did so much deep, deep spiritual work and service for a number of years. We will always greet each other with namaste, and we will always leave with namaste. And initially, when I landed into that particular lineage, I was a lot more wild. So I was like, what's all this namaste? What is happening? And now I'm like, it's such a kind of brings me back now, which is nice. Um, and for those who don't, namaste is very ancient in its own right when you're really connecting into the meaning of what it means to be one with someone, which is its own teaching. Um, and just seeing that same light in them that you see in yourself, which is a nice reminder. And I want to remember to look up here too at times. I love seeing all my beautiful faces down here. One of the things I want to make sure I remember by the end of this class, I always forget to upload the recordings for these classes, and I'm uploading the one from last week now. I'm like, I keep getting so many requests now, like, are the classes uploaded yet? And I'm like, that's right, upload it. So all the little things, right? So I'm so grateful for the the transmissions that I receive, just to have the opportunity just to share the mother, in my own unique channel, such just a blessing to have. So I'm grateful for just even from here talking to myself, but it's great to have the friends along the way to come and be with you, right? So yeah, I see so many cute faces here too. Oh my gosh. So let me just go down here. This is so much better now. Grid. Now I get to see it. Oh, there we go. We got some Zoe here. I'm just looking at the folks that are cameras on. Barbara, good to see you back, Barbara. Oh my gosh. Maddie. Madison, thank you for the email. I haven't had a chance to respond yet. Larry, good to see you too. And Mary Stevens too. And all those who have their cameras off as well. Um, so yes, today is a beautiful each time. It's interesting how this is the perfect timing actually for this particular goddess. Because when I started to relaunch the Metta Sangha community meditation, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a Hindu practitioner, and really to, allow my own ego to get out of the way. How do I hold a Buddhist group? I was making you guys a Buddhist group. I'm like, I'm a Hindu practitioner. And even when Spring was talking to me, but like, I call her beautiful Disney. She's like, just do it. I was like, well, I'm a Hindu practitioner. That's no metta. She's like, that's all you need is share whatever else is on your mind. I was like, okay, they're gonna hear a lot about tantric goddesses. This is what's gonna happen. And then my training for a number of years and connection of ritual and deep, deep love, for those who don't know, is with Divine Mother in all her most beautiful forms, wild, and sometimes can be scary. I remember we're going to talk about Saraswati, but I'll just give you a story. At some point, I will talk, probably will share about Chinnamasta. I love Chinnamasta. She's a beautiful tantric goddess that feeds her young, and the imagery is kind of wild because she severs her head. Her head is severed, and then um, the blood of her own body is feeding her young. And there's a specific deity that I had in my house. That's how I roll sometimes. And I had a friend come over and he's very open. And he looked at her. He's like, I'm open, but not that open. So that kind of, some of the goddesses can be rather frightening, but they're so beautiful, powerful, and transformative. And some of the deep work that as a community, as I bring these forth, is a really, there's an outer reality of things that we can get kind of caught up on what things look like. So I'm always so careful around what is actually beautiful, right? Versus what is like unattractive, because we've all been there many times. I've actually, had crushes and try to tie myself in romantically. And not to say it's always a rule. It's like this person is so beautiful on the outside, and I believe he's a good person on the inside, and woo, what a flip. So again, and that is not always a rule because the universe will play with that too. So it's not even about what ones look like, but really, what is that internal world doing? How does a person hold their light and their shadow? How in tune are we first with ourselves in the process of all of this, right? When it comes to how we're seeing reality. And so much of the practice that we'll get in today as we hold it with love and kindness is I'm going let me go ahead and send for those who have not really connected with the meta phrases. So, such a gift of being with these beautiful practitioners in this room of Buddhism and interfaith and with Spring, Metta. And I was like, if I can just really tap into the wisdom of these phrases, and let's say I know learn nothing else from Buddhism, you know, I think I'm doing pretty good. So some of the most powerful, just why I love to partner metta with these different goddesses, because at times we'll go on these journeys in meditation where the mother in these different forms, and today will be Saraswati, will start to open things up. And really, if things feel unclear or ungrounding or a bit uncertain, that's what that's why so much of the reflection back to metta I find to be so powerful. Because I remember and I'm sure we've hopefully practiced our metta enough or whatever connects with us in our heart. There's times where you can feel so uncertain in life and then you have whatever your practice is. Sometimes for me, even the memory of a teacher that I deeply respect that represents love is something that really settles something within me where I know I'm going to be okay. So as we explore our practice today of love of Saraswati with held in metta, I'm going to invite you to really, as we go through this, is like, how do we hold these parts of us that are really in this deep learning and moving language of sometimes when we say these different goddesses' names, it's like, okay, what does that mean if you haven't heard of Saraswati? So just to give you a little bit of context, it's always good to have context before we go into a practice. Goddess has been celebrated for thousands and thousands of years, rituals Indian tradition, we want to honor the Indian origins of this goddess. And typically, she is told in mythology to be connected to the beginning of things. Her consort partner is Brahma, the beginning, Brahma, the creator of things, the divine masculine. And according to many stories, he just brings all the manifestation of things in. And what's amazing around Saraswati, when I start to say bring things in, it's all consciousness, right? So imagine all these different realities are coming together, and Divine Mother, in the form of Saraswati, starts to use the deep intelligence of wisdom to create harmony. So imagine just within ourselves, the context of ourselves, we can be so overwhelmed with so many different realities where we can't really kind of find ground, whether it's the beginning or we're in that sustaining, because we can, whether it's a new job, that could be very stressful, a new relationship, even if we get into the sustaining part of it, sustaining is not always easy. Sometimes when you're in the midst of sustaining something, it feels new sometimes. You're like, do I really know how to do this? And what's so great about the wisdom aspect of ourselves, because when we talk about moving out the language of Saraswati and saying the mother, because the mother, when I say the mother, it is consciousness in form. which I love that so much because divine masculine really is about the unmanifested but alive. And that's why I love it around silence, right? Silence is alive and you can't really see it, but you know it's there when you're tapped into the silence. You can feel it. So that aspect of us as the mother really knows how to do this thing called life. The mind will make you think that you don't, because the mind has its own purpose. Like, oh my gosh, you're just not there, and why am I doing this? But there's a deeper intelligence that we're going to tap into as we start to deconstruct whatever your unique path is. Maybe some areas where there's some deep learning you want to explore. You want to call in the sacred goddess Saraswati. And I'm just calling her in. I already called her in before this, did a long mantra of Saraswati. She has many, a beautiful invocation to bring her in here. There's so much gratitude. I call our own ancestors and teachers in here as well. And of course, guess what? We call in Metta. So with that said, I put the meta phrases in the chat. Let's go ahead and just begin to settle ourselves into our seat. Peggy, so good to see you as well. As we settle ourselves into our seat, let's go ahead and you can keep your eyes open or closed. I like to leave my eyes open for a moment. I like to start to move my body a little bit. So I know we're getting ready to sit for a bit. So I like to just really start to create some space, especially around my back, depending on whether you're sitting on the floor or in a chair. And as I'm moving, I start to use my breath and I start to see and explore where there might be a little bit of a hitch in my giddy up, as I would say. And as I start to find areas that might feel a little bit locked, it's okay to stay there for a moment just to be with that part of our body. Whatever feels stiff, you can be there. I'm a big person of flow and movement. Start to deepen your breath with each inhale and each exhale just to kind of be with it. Even I know for me, my shoulders is a thing. So just start to let your body flow. I'm just gonna be with that for a moment in silence. Something that's so grounding too is as you do this work, how much can you ground your feet into the floor as part of this practice, even lifting your toes up and down, flexing them. Really start to create a level of groundedness with your body. Even start to open and close your hands just for circulation. Just your joints just really start to. Mm. And as consciously as you can, just taking in 5 deep breaths as you continue this movement. Slow 5 deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Mm. Mm. And whenever you finish that fifth exhale, allow yourself to settle into your seats. And as you settle into your seat, if your eyes are open, I invite you, if you feel ready, to close your eyes so you can start to bring yourself deeper into your body. And as you're breathing in and out of your body initially, just really breathing your full body from your toes all the way to from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. and using that exhalation to soften, feeling your body. Just be in this place of noticing. And whatever comes as you're inhaling with awareness, connecting into your body in its fullness, and exhale, noticing. See if there's a communication, whether it's with your body or mind, that rises now that you are starting to go within. And as much as you can, allow yourself to observe and really use your breath and awareness of your body and its connection to your breath to be your landing place. And everything else you're just allowing to be, not resisting, and at the same time, not allowing it whatever comes up to take you away from this moment of tender care of your own body and your own breath. And as you are in this place of noticing if thoughts come to you, acknowledge as thinking inwardly. Just bring yourself back to the inhale connection of the body and the exhale softening into your body for a deeper connection. I'm going to invite you to just do a light body scan from your feet, still breathing normally, slowly with awareness, rising up your body with intention, just to see if there's any still tightness left in your body that still may not be quite settled. So as you rise up your calves and your thighs, really take your time to be curious about something you may have not noticed that may need a little tending to with a deeper inhale and exhalation, even maybe a little bit of movement or tensing or relaxing. See if you can take this next few moments to really start to soften and relax those parts of your physical body that still may be a bit busy. And if your mind takes you to any other place, still use your practice of thinking just a thought. And then bring yourself back to the awareness of where you are in your body scan of your body. Just really making this attention, the intention of softening, relaxing deeper into yourself. And whenever you get to the top of your head, begin to breathe your body in its fullness again after doing that body scan and see if you can notice any kind of shift in how you feel in your body. Now, whenever you finish that body scan, you have a fuller picture of where you are. And as you start to take in with deeper awareness of your body and all its parts, both seen and maybe not all seen fully, I invite you to give yourself and your body, physical body, metta. May I be happy and peaceful. Just feel that metta phrase in your body. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. Really, especially around health. Feel this phrase. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and well being. Continue to say, repeat these meta phrases, really feeling and speaking to your body with each inhale and each exhale. Even if you can feel the vibrational sound behind each phrase, let it touch into even your nervous system. What does that feel like? Just really continue on. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and well being. And as you continue to practice metta, you even start to bring in other metta phrases or one in particular of the four phrases that connect. Really start to go deeper into that connection that really resonates with your own body. And wherever you are with the metta phrases, continue to deepen your breath, still feeling and connecting to your body and allowing the metta phrases, the inward speaking of them, to go. And see if you can feel the resonance, the connection of the metta for a moment that you've done, the work you've done in your body. So just take a moment just to notice if you can feel into it, even without saying the phrases for a moment. And as you feel into it, see how your body feels in connection to this practice so far of metta with your body. So just noticing. Now, can you draw the feeling of the metta, the work, the meta intentions of the body? Can you start to breathe that into the center of your chest at your heart? You have to breathe this connection of metta without saying metta into your heart for a moment. This inner knowing of practice into your heart for a moment. Taking deep inhale and deep exhale breath. And as you're breathing into your heart center, you can even bring your hand to your chest if it's helpful, just to feel this connection. Hands have such healing energy. As you're breathing in and out of the heart center, just go back to this feeling into what is it like to have this blend of body awareness that you've done this work on softening the body, which has its own feeling to it, and the metta of love and kindness, drawing that into the central channel of love that is your heart. Just take that in and out, and just breathing in into your heart, deeper space of curiosity. And as you're breathing in and out, just be in this place of observing as anything rises up beyond just this awareness around the heart, metta in your body. So allow just to be present to it, and then just use your breath to continue to bring you deeper into your heart center. And allow the awareness of the metta to go for a moment in terms of this blended connection. And invite you to feel into the name of Saraswati. Feel that into your heart. Just feel into Saraswati for a moment, whatever that expression is to you, what that means, what it means to connect to this aspect of yourself. And as you're feeling into her, this aspect of yourself that is wisdom, deep wisdom, and learning and creativity. With each inhale, I invite you to inwardly say Sarah, then exhale, settling into your heart, Swati. You're just going to take a moment to just say her name with each inhale, Sarah, Swati. To allow yourself a moment, still holding the metta of the heart. Just start to invite this aspect of yourself to become more and more awakened. As you repeat the name of the mother in this form, just keep visualizing yourself going deeper and deeper into your heart. And as you're saying her name, too, can you feel into something uniquely present there that connects this name to your heart? It's almost like a memory. And once you start to feel into this connection as you say her name with each inhale and exhale breath, once you really start to feel this unique aspect of your presence to this particular goddess, allow the saying of her name to go and just feel into that with each inhale and exhale. Once you feel like you have a really good thread of connection, I invite you to allow this connection to have a deeper exploration of learning the deeper teachings around each meta phrase, really bringing this meta phrases to the heart in a learning wisdom way, an opening of liberation, you can even say, as we start to say metta with curiosity and learning now, as we breathe in and out of the heart. And be happy and peaceful. As you start to say this phrase repeatedly in a place of learning, deep curiosity. Where's the liberation here? The beginning and the ending of this. We just have to go into the space of using the breath, connection to Saraswati to create an opening. Yeah, be safe and protected. We have to really bring this into this deep learning of wisdom into the heart, into the arms of Saraswati to create this opening. To repeat this phrase or whatever phrase resonates with you in this moment to get a deeper understanding. May I be healthy and strong in this body. See if you can allow yourself to have a beginner's mind, even if you've said these phrases over and over again. What is the newness of the learning? May I live with ease and well being. And as you continue to breathe and explore within your vast heart of love, these meta phrases, there's one that really continues to resonate, even creates a new one. Allow just the wisdom to open up like a lotus when it comes to this exploration of metta, which has its own dharma within it. And if the mind softens enough and you start to feel the silence moving into space of the heart versus the work of the metta, I invite you to start to move into silence of the heart, which has its own learning. And as you go into the silence of the heart, see if you can just allow just the inner knowing of how to explore the learning without having sound, the learning of silence. What does that feel like in your heart? And as you go deeper into the silence of the heart, can you trust that the mother is there, even in the silence, whatever the mother looks like to you? And as you're communing with the mother in the silence, see if you can allow whatever it is that is feel like you want deeper learning on just in your life that's deeply personal to you, because the mother channel is open now. What is it that you want to explore within your own heart that's there's a deeper learning about something that's unique to you, or something that may not be entirely clear or harmonious? Allow yourself a moment just to have it come forth, just knowing that it's held in love. You're safe with the mother. As you bring this forth to the in the heart, can you trust that there's a deep learning that's going to start to open that starts right now that you may not quite have seen when it comes to whatever's uniquely something that you're really looking to get a deeper understanding from a place of wisdom, not information, but wisdom. And when it's clear, you start to really bring it forth to the mother, whatever it is that's uniquely to you in your path. Whenever you're ready, we can start to give it metta. This is a part of you. It may feel like it's someone else or collective. You're still in this experience of consciousness with it. So as you say the metta, just continue to still make it really personal to you. May I be happy and peaceful, and still feeling and experiencing whatever it is in your heart. Just really start to fill it with light of metta. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and well-being. And as you repeat the metta phrases, continue to start to see it fill whatever that situation is with light. Situation, person, whatever it is with light. Start to really pour in the metta because it's still connected to your own consciousness in some level. Deepen your breath into your heart and allow the connection to whatever it was that came to you to go. But just really start to feel as you breathe in and out of your heart center, just this gratitude of maybe just to see a little bit more. As you start to soften and letting whatever it was kind of go to the background of your awareness, just allow yourself a moment just to be back into the silence. And as you come back into the silence, just notice what is something that you're very grateful for. It can be a person, it can be a community, it can be you. Being grateful for you, nothing's wrong with that. Just showing up and saying yes to practice. Whatever, just saying yes to life. Just inwardly, just say in your own heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can slowly bring your palms together at your heart to come to close the practice. And bowing chin to chest. And you can come to a slowly open your eyes and come to a relaxed seat. Mm. And I think it's really important to also, that was, whew, I started choking at the end. I was like, let me go. Like, all right, we gotta land this plane here because otherwise it's gonna be some coughing and interrupting you'd have been fine. You sent my voice, my throat chakra some metta, I know. But yes, thank you for just it's so interesting, this group. It's a very beautiful vibration. It's so easy to drop into the silence, at least for me. It's like boom, I go right on in. I was like, I can stay in the silence much longer. And then I know it, depending on your time zone, that will not work out well because people have bedtime, so we won't do that. So yes, so in this for Elizabeth, welcome to so good to see you. It's so such a beautiful and interesting for me aspect of ourselves to work with, this learning part. Sometimes and because of the nature of life and there's so much information out there, sometimes I'll use my statement, I mistake information for wisdom at times. Like I have all this information. Oh my God. And it's amazing how these practices, especially if you allow yourself to, whatever the expression, you don't, the goddesses, I have names for them, not even me. It's just these names have been around and put into mantra and practice and rituals for thousands of years. Even if you didn't know the name of Saraswati, just this aspect of ourselves that can really feel into what is it like to look at something, someone, an experience, and see if you can find a deeper learning around there instead of like, I have mastered it. And that's why sometimes, even when it comes to going, for me, I went the pathway of getting a degree and everything, this idea of bachelor's and master's, I've mastered something, which I think is very, very fascinating when we get these certificates. And I understand that in the world, let's have all these little shuffles, but it is one of those things like, what does it look like when you can be in your practice? And this is what we use metta as really the landing place for us. We say this phrase so many times, even I'm sure before you met Spring or started practicing with Spring and I. Some of you are probably already doing metta. And imagine that even each meta phrase, you allow yourself to approach it with that curiosity of learning. There's liberatory elements in these practices. And the mind will make you think, okay, yeah, man, be happy and peaceful, got it. The mind's like, yeah, this is fun. This is so easy. And there's a deep resonance. There's a reason why the Buddha and different traditions continue to practice these ancient teachings. And there's a reason why even the Meta monks, as they walk, when they walk to DC and they're walking and doing these different pilgrimages around the world, still saying these phrases. And it's not because, oh, it's so easy, got it. So the mind will just have you just like kind of dismiss at times the sacredness of the learning, even the simplicity of life. And this is where Saraswati at times can I feel like really start to allow you to see that there's so much transformation, even if you feel like you got it, to go back to the beginning. Let the mind, the beginner's mind, let the idea go that you have it. And that is where at times, and I just finished a workshop on this, what helps, especially if you're feeling, even if you're in this place of sustaining or something is ending and you can't quite see, it's sometimes it is connected to the ability to break the mind. And I do think Saraswati in this deep teaching around learning and finding liberation inside of each moment in these specific realities of whether it's relationships, work, being a good neighbor, being a mischievous neighbor, whatever you're into. It's like, what does it look like to be into that, to be in the moment and be ever new and expanded? Because one of the beautiful teachings I love around Saraswati is it's really not about answering the question. All the questions of life. I've sat in different darshans and different community groups and different traditions. It's all kind of questions and about life and very real things that are needed, right? Suffering is happening. This life is complex. So as one of my friends from DC will say, and you, this is a very common expression, life is hard. AF. That she had some spice to her. She's like, and I was like, yes, and that's one of my favorite things to say. Life in itself, just like these questions, are a vehicle for transformation. And that's one of the most powerful things about whether it's Kali, who is my Ishtadeva. Every time I think about her, even say her name, my heart just feels and breaks open, or it's Lakshmi, which I've talked about, or it could be the Christ, or that like one of the most important things to I try to remember, even when it comes to all the questions I have, like, why is this happening? Why is it so hard? Why is it so awesome? It doesn't always have to be hard. Sometimes it can be interesting, like, this is so awesome. I never want it to end. I've had many of those moments too. I'm like, can we keep this pause frame until I'm like, 105 and then press play. I hope you've had a moment where you're like, this is such sweetness. Mm-mm-mm. And then that question happens because the mind, when will, for me, this will end? I know about impermanence. It's not my first rodeo. Then I get sad. Why does things have to be impermanent? And again, these questions that the mother works with is a vehicle for us to get curious about what is actually happening here. And one of the beyond just the learning parts of Saraswati that's so beautiful is the discernment that she brings too around what is reality versus what is delusion. Because one of the challenges I find that makes this rather tricky is the mother, again, the formless and formed, the mother, all things, is not, it's not only real truth. Let's go truth. That what is eternal is the word I was looking for. That what is eternal, right? That is permanent. And in the simplest thing, like love or we are forever. I love saying that we are forever, but what is that we are forever thing, right? But the mother also plays in the world of unreality, untruth. So even when we have those moments where we're falling into like our own things that are not true. I know I've done that before. I say, oh, yes, I can go ahead and pay this bill tomorrow and I'll be okay. And the deadline's today and nothing will happen. Super simple. Like something like, oh, it's fine. And also, like, I didn't know that interest rate charge will happen. How did that happen? But somehow the mind will just take you there and make you believe an untruth. And believe, even in that, that is the mother at play with us, which is a wild, this wider, this this greater force of ourselves that's getting us to do what? Awaken. I know we hear that so much because sometimes we need enough of those moments where we're like, what is actually happening? It's just like, yes, that is the question. And one of the most powerful things, well, two things is happening. And again, this is just me saying this. Don't quote me on it. If you like it, great. If you don't, play with it. Two things are happening. Remember you're loved, because I'm a love bug, devotee of love at the deepest place. And what is happening if you choose to take the assignment, each moment an awakening is happening. And that is the part that gets so fascinating. We can do all our books and we can write all these things like, these are all my questions. And the mother's like, sure, let's go through these questions and let's go deep into these oneness states and go through them. And I really do believe true understanding is in the simple, less words. That's why silence is so powerful. It's beautiful. There's beautiful paths around wisdom, hundreds of thousands of mantras, pages. You can read about all the technologies of how to awaken oneself, and it's in the simple and simplicity of the moment that makes what is so powerful about just being with the mother in that sense. And there's also this understanding of, until we can get to that simplicity, let's get into the questions. Let's get into the deep learnings around who we are, because it takes layers to get to that point. And one of and I know we're all experiencing this too on some level because we're all on this path of liberation and growth. We're not, if you're on this call, certainly, and if you're doing Metta, whether you sign up for it or not, you're a bodhisattva in training. Congratulations. There's a lot of different things you could do right now with your life. A lot of people that I know, even walking out, this is not even judgment, people are having their own world happen. It's not doing meta phrases. Look, I'm all like, I'm a very handsy, people like they're doing their own thing. That's not this. And it's fine. I always talk about as long as you're minimizing harm as best you can. You don't know until you know. But one of the things I can just honestly say is when you're doing this type of work, it's just so important to just be with this understanding of, yes, the questions will lead to more questions, and at some point there'll be less question. because you start to go into the past. Because the questions really and the answers for those are vehicles to get back to you. That's what's amazing. Who are we? That's why I love these practices. Who am I? Sri Ramana Maharshi. When you get the peeling it back of all the questions, and this is this pathway of Saraswati really differentiating what is permanent versus impermanent. And that's why even who am I, some of the practices we've done where we start to see the different types of drag personas, because these are impermanent. I love this drag that you see in front of me right now, but this isn't forever. It looks exciting at times, might be a little bit crunchy, but when you look in the mirror, it is for a moment. And this is the hardest part that we sometimes get shocked by, but it's very useful. One of the things I I oftentimes love about this whole thing called life, especially when you're put in different environments that you can't quite understand. If you can remember who you are in it, I am love. Let me do my practices, and who you're not too is important too. It's like, actually, I don't know how to do this. Let me go into this space of metta and let me just get curious and be in this place of learning. Not focus on getting it right or wrong, but just this willingness to really be in that moment to see what's there because really everything shows up for us to see who we really are. And sometimes we get confused about it. It's like, is this me? But you got to start to dive deeper because one of the things I said, I think on the last call, which I love so much, if you really try to figure it out with the mind, it's just not going to work. I, that's the unfortunate thing. Who we are is beyond the mind. That's why a lot of these practices at some point you can go so deep into meta, breaking the mind. And I love the mind. The mind is awesome, but the mind at some point is an impediment. That's part of the challenge of this. Because like, and I can just say from my own experience of working with different traditions, I remember, and I've shared this in other conversations. I remember Kriya Yoga initiated it, and I was like, I just need 3 or 4 years. I'm out of here. I got this. And the mind's creating a PowerPoint presentation. My corporate training is like, oh, Babaji said if I do this amount of Kriyas, I'm writing things. I'm all anyway, writing things. This is what's going. Let me just keep this going. And guess what showed up and just got me real tired? Life. Life is like, this is really good. And of course, like, why is it, what is also great, because I'm still a Kriya Bun and connected to Babaji and Yogananda was his own. And maybe at some point I'll talk about that fun journey in a different conversation. And life is also a beautiful partner for our freedom, our liberation. So this idea that, oh, Maddie, so good to see you. Thank you. But this being really a curious participant in life, everything you'll ever need to get free is right in front of you. As much as we want to believe, we need to go to a whole different, like, if you're focused enough, the mother will give you all the play tools to figure it out in the community if you so choose to. The challenge of it is it gets very complex because of how uh, how we show up in it and how we decide we want because we have free will. But I really do believe we have everything we need to get free. There's nothing we need to purchase or there's no specific guru, which is controversial because I had a couple of gurus. That was fun and not fun at the same time. But we are it. The community is the guru to support and hold us, but really finding ourselves back to us, the questions and answers we've been looking for, even at times I know for myself, it's like, God, really? Oof, this is gonna be a fun time. A drag queen meet at the highest level. That's all I can see. So yeah, so really being with that is really, really important in terms of being able to connect what's impermanent versus permanent. Another beautiful thing that is oftentimes connected to Saraswati is spiritual discipline. It's such an important part of her being even in one of, and I have a little, you can't really see her, but you can always Google Saraswati. I have a little Saraswati. I have the tiniest Saraswati that was given to me as a gift. I didn't, so I'm always careful not to break her, but she has um, a vino instrument in her hand, which I'll talk about in a moment, but she also has beads to recognize ritual. So it's such an important part is practice. That's why the meta practices, if you're into mantra, and it's really something to really support you on stilling the mind enough to get quiet and going inside. There's so many different distractions with the five senses to keep us very, very busy. And discipline is an important part in terms of practice. We use that word because discipline can feel harsh at times. Practice is an important part. It doesn't always have to be so complicated. Connect with one's breath. Breathe into the heart. Drop from the mind to the heart. Breathing. Remember to breathe and feel your breath. Oh my gosh, you're in practice. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed how often the breath goes, especially when under stress, and you start to get into the mind and out ungrounded. So that's really, really important part because that also, as you practice tonight, helps you really start to cultivate this connection. Because really, all these different aspects of Saraswati and these other goddesses is really to cultivate a stronger, more resonant connection with yourself. Like, because it could be so easy to go outside of ourselves and define who we are and define what's going on by someone outside of us. And granted, there are a lot of very hard things going on, depending on what your background is and where you live and how you see the world, and getting clear on you, getting quiet within you. Because I promise you, I shouldn't promise you, but what I feel is once you start to really connect in with oneself, it starts to allow you in a very skilled way, which is Saraswati's gift. How does one start to use speech? Communication is part of her work, and how you move creatively. And creatively is just not because even though she has her vino instrument, the vino instrument was a string instrument, an Indian, it looks like a little guitar, but anyhow, it's a cute little thing going on. But it really symbolizes harmony, and I love the strings because it's all about tuning. There's a lot of tuning going on. So you're tuning into the channel, you're landing the plane. 'Cause there's a lot of things you can tune into. I'm constantly rolling my eyes like, don't get into scrolling. Don't get into scrolling here. You're gonna go down this portal. Unless it's the right portal, you're gonna go into something you don't want to because all the reels that's going on. So really paying attention, like with deep awareness, being a guardian and protector of yourself and your field. And that's where the practice, the tuning comes in, and speech. And really, once you start to get clear, you can start to use your creative flow to start to shift and move things. That's what's so powerful about it. And again, people think creative is I'm gonna be a writer, which is great, a musician, all this stuff. But creative can also be how do I be in better relationship with people? How do I have stronger projects at work? How do I pay attention? Because people are gonna have their other realities, but very skilled Saraswati is moving chaos, reorganizing chaos into harmony bit by bit. And also knowing the wisdom, because in life there is light and shadow, being okay, being with a deep understanding how to be with confusion. And that's a hard thing too, because I would love to say that once you have mastered oneself, that there won't be any confusion, there won't be any more shadow. It's all going to be just so beautiful in the clouds and all of that. And we're on planet Earth. So with that said, is some the really self-mastery so much, especially what the Saraswati really taps into, which I love with the teachings, is really being this balance of creating harmony and allowing, because it's still going to be there, this impermanent. We won't even call it this harmony or shadow, this impermanence that's still very closely there. Until you're out of a human body, that this harmony, that impermanence is still walking alongside as you skillfully move things into harmony. And that's why I love that partnership between Brahma that just sends out all this energy into all these planetary systems, and Saraswati with skillness and awareness begins to create this harmony and clarity with all things, because that's another part. With harmony comes clarity. That tuning part of it, like the instrument is a constant, right? Because there's parts of us that are not fully tuned in. There's parts of us that are. That constant a- awareness with practice of tuning and learning. And then the last piece I haven't talked enough about, which is very bodhisattva, certainly liberating oneself in these different aspects, harmonizing oneself and really being practiced with oneself is at some point just not for oneself, is bringing in service and compassion from that place. So really to benefit all beings. So all this harmony, tuning in and connection, bringing that in into the moment to be there of service for all beings. And I found that to be really, really beautiful part because there's different depending on the tradition, there's certain images of Saraswati where two of her hands are holding the vina, but there's at times one where it's one holding the vina and the other one's hand is up. The other hand up is for service and blessings and compassion for all beings, while there's of course she has four hands. The goddesses, they have to have multiple things going on, so they have the two hands for the instruments or one just blessing. She has one with beads and then one with the wisdom, the learning, the dharma. So that's something that's really important too. As much as one at times may get really into individual work, that's why the community is such an important part. That's why the service of all beings on some level, whatever that looks like to you, is a really important part of the path. So as you continue to do your own journey to work around what it means to connect with deeper wisdom, there's always something to unlock within oneself. And you have more than enough within your own consciousness to really work with. And it's great to learn, it's great to get information. But one of the things I've learned, because I've been through a lot of teacher trainings, and my mind always wants to do another teacher training, another teacher training. It's like, have I really embodied what it's like to embody what you already know at a deeper level? And it's great to get more and more and more. And there's this thing where you can get inundated with so much information, and it's not really in flow and in harmony within your own field. And that's really, really important because inside of all the things that you have now are already seeds that can continue to grow and unravel and really be deep teachings for not only you, but for those who you support and help. Because even when it comes to you seeing yourself clear, more clear, how we show up when we're more clear, it serves as a mirror for other people to see. And I know that's why I try to keep around me as close as possible people who do deep work because you can't always see yourself. That's why we have literal mirrors. So to have people that are you could trust who are practiced, you're like, oh my God, I couldn't even see that. So that's why it's so important for us to do our own work as well. And why is it important to have this aspect of ourselves and this deep learning, creative flow, creating harmony? Because it also, if sometimes people show up the way they show up too, because they can't quite see it and they're not practiced, and you being in your practice benefits other beings as well. And this is why I love so much about Spring and other teachers that talks about liberating your oneself first. Because, classic plane analogy, taking the oxygen mask off of others first before yourself is not very helpful. So it's really, really how does one do your own deeper work and not always try to how do I say this? It gets very interesting. I'm very careful around how I show up, and like trying to tell and move people around and tell them what to do. And I know I would do that with my mom a lot of times, right? I had a very specific spiritual plan for her because I felt like hers wasn't working. I had to do my own work. I was like, gosh, she's causing a lot of harm to me and others. Let me get her together. And, at some point, I could feel in her fists, her literally in her system, her nervous system, it was not very helpful. And she began to get very uncomfortable. Like I can't even talk to my human person because there's a lot happening there. And I had to really start to look at it. I'm like, let me do my own work. What am I trying to change? What am I not trying to see that she's trying to show me? Not saying that she's correct all the time or I'm correct, but there's something that if I'm this upset, what is it in my own work about myself I haven't quite seen? It doesn't mean that everyone's aspect of themselves is okay, but there's something about needing to go and fix someone and shift them. Like, I'm going to get you together. I have a plan for you. No, have a plan for yourself and show up in the greatest light that one can be. And I know with me over past recent years, it's just me doing my own work. My mom has naturally, she's one of my greatest teachers, by the way. of me just staying center. Like, do I go and go into like this moment where I have to go ahead and put on some fierce drag, or do I just stay centered and calm and relax and be a good a good person for my mother because she can be very activating for me as she occurs to me. But it is something very helpful around continue to do one's work to be a clear channel. And I've found for those who are looking to do the work, as you start to harmonize and tune your environment, they naturally, people who are not meant to be there will start to move out of that field because it's not what they're into. Like, oh, that's like, oh, I'm starting to see some things. I gotta go. I've literally seen that several times in my life. And then other people, they lean in, they're like, oh, what is this about? And again, not me like saying, oh, do this metta, let me give you a little spiritual kit pack. No, live your life. And as you live your life and show up people who are very interested, the practices are alive. These deities were also interconnected. And sometimes words help. If people ask, be there, but people are inspired by the energy, the embodiment. Usually, I find when you're just trying to change the world by talking, people say, that is really so nice. And you'll give a nice dissertation for about 30 minutes, and they will go ahead and turn that channel right on off and get right back to their lives. So, that's one of my favorite things now is I bring some spice to it. And this is all things spiritual, but it sounds like it's not. Mind your own business and do your work, and serve, love on people. So, and again, do what you want. I'm just having my own fun chit chat as I think about life and all the things that have moved in and out. And it's been such an interesting thing, life on this journey as I've gotten closer to the goddesses and all these deep teachings and even things I thought I knew. And as things even come up now, even in recent past few months, I'm like, God, I thought I mastered this. I didn't know there was a different level. It's like, no, you graduated. Now you're on stage 4. You did stage 1 through 3. That was really awesome. You did so good. You didn't know there were more to this, did you? I was like, how much more to this film? I got other things to do. That's how I talk to my goddesses at least. It's like, well, see, and again, the question. So that, but the great thing is the engagement in it is such a powerful thing. The curiosity, because I continue to go back to just have as much as you can. Find the joy in it. Find the joy in it. I remember last thing I'll share is moving into one of my living environments where it was just wild. Community house, yogis all over the place, communication all off. And I didn't think maybe a rational person would thought like maybe this isn't the right fit right away. Let me move out. Let me try something else. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good show. Let me go ahead and get my practice together. There's going to be a lot here because this person I can tell might get on my nerves a little bit, but this is some nuances I haven't seen before. And the fact that I have some judgment here, there's some work. Let's get into the work. And what helps me to dive into some of these situations is that's when I do love impermanence. Let's go into that. I always know when it comes to stuff that's hard, conditions change. So that's what gets me through most of the hardest parts of life where I perceive as hard. That, oh, impermanence will get this together at some point. So and then I get all nervous. I'm like, as Zoe pops in there magically, I was like, Zoe, when it's the juicy parts, when it's like, oh, this is the best friendship I've ever have had in my life. That's when I get that same teaching as a mother. Oh, impermanence. So it's like, shh, I know. Let me have this moment. Impermanence, I get it, and I'm gonna have this moment. So there you go. So thank you for coming into the Saraswati teaching. And the beautiful thing about these goddesses is I'll talk about the different aspects, different ones each time, and there's always a deeper teaching around them anyway. And at least we got it kicked off with Saraswati Ma Ki Jai.